Hey, everybody, it is Monday again, and hope everybody had a great weekend. It is Snipes and Stripes Weekend Edition on nofilter.net right here. Jeremy Roenick with my good buddy Tim Peel. And we finally have a little bit of a series. We saw a total domination the other day, Tim. But before we talk about that, thank our sponsors, Whiskey in the Wild. Go to whiskeyinthewild.com for your best chocolate and chocolate orange whiskey of all time. I guarantee you it'll be the best drinking experience you will ever have. And bet online and your protected net guards.
And happy Father's Day to you. And I hope all our dads and out there that listen to our Snipes and Stripes had a great Father's Day. There's nothing better than being a dad, buddy. As you know, it is the absolute ultimate. It is our Stanley Cup as being a dad.
It really is. I got an amazing text from my son and then phone call. And then, of course, a FaceTime from my daughter in Germany. First FaceTime being married, so it was Father's Day being married, so it was a special day. I'm traveling. I'm in Toronto, Muskoka right now. So,
geez, I feel so bad for you. You gotta hang out in Muskoka.
yeah, playing golf today at Rocky Crest. Played Ovenbird yesterday.
How'd you play?
I didn't start off too well. I'm still trying to get that swing down. I started off with a double bogey, then two bogeys, and finished at 75 again. So,
good.
Yeah. So again, I got to get rid of the stupid mistakes. It takes me a little bit longer to get going these days. I haven't played too much. So, but the swing is starting to come.
Well, you got a new golf swing. You don't have that big belly to swing over anymore.
Exactly. But usually it used to work for me because it used to get me out there, right? It had to put me in line. Now my hands can go all different places. So it takes a lot more. Speaking of golf, I mean, we got to talk about DeChambeau's shot.
Let me touch on Bet Online first. Bet Online is your number one. Hold on here. Geez, I lost it. Come on, Cat. You're better than that. Oh, my stupid phone, JR. I need Bronson to be running it for me right now. Go ahead. Talk about DeChambeau.
Yeah,
I got it. We're good. Bet Online is your number one source for all your summer sports this season, from MLB, golf, NBA, and NHL playoff stats. All the latest stats, news, and scores available to follow your favorite teams. Get the latest odds and lines, including the latest team matchups, player props, and odds on just about every sport out there. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to get in on the action. Bet Online, where the game starts. Yeah, let's talk about the U.S. Open. DeChambeau, you and I are both golf nuts. That up and down that he made on 18 was one that they will replay for decades.
And again, from the entire hole, from him just pulling his drive underneath the tree against a root in the dirt and the straw to be able to advance it into that bunker. And what was crazy is not one person got up and down from that bunker the entire weekend.
That's unbelievable.
Not one player in the tournament got up and down from that bunker the entire week. And then DeChambeau does it with a chance to win, with the pressure of winning a U.S. Open. That might go down as one of the best golf shots in history because of how difficult that length of shot is coming out of the bunker. Then you have tens of thousands of people, if not 100,000 people watching, and wow. I mean, it was one of the best forms of grit I've ever seen.
You and I know how tough a 50-yard bunker shot is. Then you incorporate it's to win the U.S. Open, and the amount of pressure. It just goes to show how prepared these guys are and how some guys can handle the moment. And listen, there's a lot of people the last few years and I was one of them, that didn't like DeChambeau. I thought he was a jerk. I thought he had no personality. But I'm telling you, buddy, my opinion of him over the last 6-8 months has completely changed. I was rooting for him yesterday. He has endeared himself to the fans. He's been unbelievable. And I don't know if he got his PR team told him to do this. I don't know if this became. Somebody had a good point yesterday. They said they think a part of it is playing on the live. The fans are on sometimes under the ropes, inside the ropes with these players. That the live has been good for him. I don't know what your point is, but I'm very happy for the guy, and I have to give him credit for how he's changed his personality.
Yeah, he's definitely goes against he goes against the grain when it comes to personalities and exposing himself to the fans and engaging with the fans and having emotions as much as he does. Everybody else is very very stiff. And they're walking through. A lot of people, they don't fist bump, they don't slap hands. They do every once in a while, but not to the magnitude that DeChambeau did. And you got to really appreciate it because the fans enjoyed I think the interaction with him.
100%.
Afterwards, he was letting fans come up, take pictures with him and the trophy. And a lot of it might be part of an ego, and he's trying to boost a reputation. But that's a good reputation. It's one that you say the right things. You say the right things to the fans. You're playing to their love of the game, and he shows gratitude for them being there and rooting for him and creating that atmosphere that made that such an unbelievable final shot. And more people should learn from that. So good for DeChambeau. I did that. That's how I played.
Yeah.
I wish most other leagues and other players could establish themselves in that same mind frame, but they don't.
You're absolutely right. You think about the young people that he touched yesterday, how they're talking about it today to their friends. There was a young man in the wheelchair. He was severely disabled, and Bryson high-fived him twice, took the time, signed his hat. Like, those little things really matter, and I agree with you. I think it's fantastic for golf. And then you got Rory. Rory has to be salty today. He is salty because not only because he lost the US Open, but he's been very outspoken on LIV. And now 6 of the last 9 majors have been won by LIV players, which is an unreal stat. And so that combined with him losing to a guy that plays on the LIV, Rory declined an interview at the end and hopped in his car and squealed off, and that's his prerogative.
It is, but it's not professional.
But it's not.
Just like everything, he's going to sit there and talk about himself when he wins and does great. But, for him just to storm off and not take responsibility or at least answer questions that what went wrong or what happened, I think that he does a disservice to the fans and to the media and to being a sport. You can't just have it all wins and all good. Sometimes you have to get up there when it's bad. And, Rory's one of my favorites, but he definitely dropped a notch, in my opinion, the way he handled that.
Yeah, he did. Do we have a series now?
I don't know if we have a series, but that was a different Edmonton Oilers team that I watched on Saturday night. It was one that was so impressive. Their speed, their tenacity, their attention to detail, their crispness in their passes, their sharpness in their decision making, and I think their overall level of their craving to win was so much better than Florida's and evident.
You know who I think what line set the table and kind of
I know exactly what line. Connor? I've never seen Connor Brown play so good in my life.
Unbelievable, eh?
And it makes you wonder where he's been. It makes you wonder, why do you just decide you're going to turn it on tonight? Because Connor Brown it's probably been one of the most snake bit hockey players, not only just in the NHL, but in the world over the last 6 months, 7 months. You put the kid on the beach, he won't be able to throw the puck into the ocean, but
him, Janmark, and Henrique, that's what they need, right?
Yep. But that group with their work ethic and their effort and what they did, scoring goals, having big offense, really being a thorn in the Florida Panthers side, especially the defense. They turned it up. They didn't turn it up a level. They turned it up 5 levels.
Yeah.
And it goes to show you that when you prepare properly and you want it bad enough, look what can happen. Now, does Connor Brown learn from that, or is he going to go back to playing half speed and not being as aggressive and not being as eager or as physical like he has been in the last 6 months.
I think he's going to continue it, and for whatever reason, I think that they are going back to Edmonton for Game 6 on Friday. I really think.
No, that can't happen. I picked the series in 5 games. Remember?
Yeah, you did.
So so they can't go back because I got to be right.
I think the confidence that Edmonton has, they didn't win a 2. Like, if you're Florida, you don't care that you lost 2-1 or 8-1. We lost the game. We're going to regroup. We're going to refocus. We're going to go back home and win it at home. If I'm Edmonton, we didn't just win 2-1. We took it to them, and we knocked out the Vezina winning trophy. We knocked out what people were saying was going to be the Conn Smythe trophy winner in Bobrovsky. And I think their confidence level went from a 2 to an 8 or maybe a 10. I think the confidence they have on hopping on that plane and heading down to Florida today for Game 5 tomorrow, I think Edmonton feels really, really good about themselves, JR. And I would not be surprised at all if we are going back to Edmonton 3-2.
Well, if they play like they did on Saturday, they have a good chance. There's no question. They were really impressive. Their passing was sharp. Their execution was impeccable. Everybody was doing their job. Even Nurse coming, sniping a really nice one, getting physical. That game got really, really angry. That game got physical, and Florida was bouncing back and trying to instill some physical damage. But Edmonton came right back at them, and I think that's a good thing. So confidence-wise, yes, but I don't think that Florida is going to lose any confidence with this game. It's very easy when you're up 3-0 to go into a Game 4 and kind of be lackadaisical, think you guys have it. A lot of people even subconsciously going, do we really want to win it on the road? Let's just go home and see if we can win it at home.
Right.
And they're just not as prepared as they were in the first 3 games. So they can sit there and say they got thumped, but they got thumped because they just weren't prepared to play. And it's common. It's human nature to be like that in that situation.
You played a lot of playoff games. Does that really happen? Like, come into your, like you say, your subconscious, where you're like, you know what? Yeah, listen, we're prepared. They're saying all the right things. Maurice is getting them prepared like he would every other game. But is there a little bit of them that says, they don't say it, but how does that happen? Like,
well, they'll tell you it doesn't come into play. They're lying.
Mm-hmm.
They're lying. Here, because all of them are thinking in there, they're talking amongst themselves, or like saying, man, we're going to win a Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
We're going to win a Stanley Cup. We're up 3-0. This is awesome. We're going to win a Stanley Cup. And now they're going into Game 4, and they know that they have the best chance of winning. It's just human nature to let your guard down a little bit. Florida was not prepared. They didn't play the right way. They didn't play as physically I guess, what's the word? Their tactics were just not there, right? Yeah. Their passes weren't there. Their energy wasn't there. Their physicality didn't come till after they were getting beat up. Bobrovsky wasn't sharp.
No.
And again, they're not sitting there saying, well, let's lose tonight so we can go back to Florida and win it. They're not doing that. No. But little birdie in their brain is thinking, wouldn't it be great if we won it at home? And,
Right.
So, yeah, that's, to me, subconsciously, they just weren't prepared, and Edmonton was, and it showed.
What do you think? Because I'm kind of torn on this as an ex-referee and as a fan. What do you think of the Nurse hit on Bennett? First of all, I'm glad that they only gave him a minor penalty, because I really don't think it's a major penalty. But Bennett is acting like his season's done. He's writhing in pain. He can barely get off the ice. And then after they review the penalty and they reduce it to a 2, you see him come back and sit on the bench. And I'm like, and before I finish, I think a lot of that play happens because Bennett is trying to avoid the hit. Bennett spins just as he's getting ready to get hit by Nurse. Do you think it's a penalty? Do you think it's not a penalty? Do you think Bennett's embellishing it? Like, what's your view on all that?
Well, we had this conversation the other day with the knee
With
and with Vogel, and the defenseman or the player jumped out of the way and left his knee exposed. Same thing. You have to take responsibility for you also putting yourself in a tough situation, and whether or not it was an intentional hit or whether he was intending to inflict harm. I didn't think it was a major penalty, but that Bennett's going to get that kind of attention for the way that he plays. I mean, he is one of the ones that is stirring the shit, punching people in the head, hitting people. He's going to be targeted that way and by everybody. So I don't feel bad for Sam Bennett. I think he's a huge part of that team. I do think in the game these days, though, that they do soccer moves, they do soccer act, and they try to get more than just a 2-minute penalty. And Barkov did it with the hit from Draisaitl. Right. And I don't like it. It's embellishment. I think the referee should call the embellishment on the other team and even it up if that's happening. But I guess, again, it's all tactical, right? It's all tactical. Do whatever you can to try to get the best edge or best advantage. But I didn't think it was that bad of a hit. But Bennett definitely has to be more in control of himself as well as Nurse.
So there's a rumor that Evander Kane might be ready to play for Game 5. And whether it's this time of year or the first round of the playoffs or even the regular season, a team wins, and quite often the coach goes with the same lineup. Are you making a change to that lineup with Evander Kane after you just won your first game of the Stanley Cup Finals?
Unfortunately, no. I'm not putting Evander Kane in because, listen, he's had 3 extra days off, 4 extra days off. Is that really going to cure what's hampering him? I mean, especially if it's in an abdominal area, that does not get healed very quickly. It can get re-injured very quickly. And if you put him in there and he gets hit the wrong way and it re-aggravates that injury, they're going to be a man down. He's not going to be able to do that. And as well as that team played all 4 lines, four lines for Edmonton.
You take out, right? Exactly. You're not going to take out anybody on the Brown Henrique Janmark line. Right?
No.
So listen, 2019, the team song was Gloria for the St. Louis Blues.
Yeah. And I got sick of that song. I heard it so much when I was doing it.
And the Edmonton Oilers had Shania Twain in their dressing room afterwards because Shania sang to the people outside of Rogers Place. Do you think should Shania come to all their games now? Like, is she the good luck charm for them?
It's all this celebrity stuff and all this crap, talk.
You don't impress me much.
Yeah. Everybody, there's a lot of superstitious athletes, there's no question.
Did you have superstitions?
I had way too many. And they're not called superstitions, they're called routines. We don't want to be called superstitions, but I did. I had so many of them. It would literally go through the whole course of my game day, from when I woke up, what time, to which direction I went to the game at, what route I went to the game, to what I would eat, to how the time I take my stick, where I put my sticks, how many cups of coffee I drank, what kind of lunches I had. It was all day. It was literally all day. Because that's how I focused my brain on getting ready. It's like everything was a process, and and this is what I say to a lot of kids in the game today. I think they just go to the rink and just try to turn it on. I think they go home, they don't think about the game, they don't think about what's going on, they don't think about preparing the right way. They don't do the little things that gets their brain in the right mentality or focus in the right area, and they go and they're not ready. They're not ready for the speed. They're not ready for the hits. They're not ready for the decision making, and it shows. For me, it's like
I would agree with you on that at all levels. Minor hockey. You're not talking about pro hockey. You're talking about every level, right?
Every level. I think everybody should have a game day routine that they go through that literally that focuses them in the proper way so that you're ready to play the same every single night. When you have different schedules and different things that you do, you, your brain is a very powerful thing, right? It gets used to certain things, and you can train it to be prepared. You can train your body to be prepared, be prepared. And I just think if you don't go through the little things, it's not just the things on the ice. It's going through every little thing in the course of your day, in your preparation. It's structure, and
And I'm being selfish here because I'm thinking first thing my brain goes to is Bronson, my 12-year-old. So do you think they can start that at a young age? Like this is
sure, sure, absolutely, but not to the level that a pro athlete does, right? But I mean, they can have the same thing for lunch. They could, they could have a pregame candy bar or something like that at a certain time. They could tape their stick a certain way, put their sticks, in a certain place. They can get dressed. I used to get dressed from right to left, right?
Yeah.
Everything went on right, then left. Say a little something, little affirmation to yourself before you go on the ice. There are definitely little things that you can get into a habit because it's training your brain to be prepared to make the right decisions because it's sharp. When your brain is out off in la la land and you're not thinking about the game, you're not thinking about what can happen, you could make a wrong decision. Whereas if you're thinking about it, preparing and visualizing, you've already made that play before it even happens because you've already seen it before. It's something I tell young kids a lot is use visualization. Think about the game all day. Don't just think about it when you step on the ice. It's got to be an all day thing. But then on the off days, that's when you let your brain go. That's when you stop. I told Rick Tocchet one time. He was struggling with the Coyotes and getting them to play hard every night, right? And I'm like, Toc, you just make it easy for them. Just go in there because they're young guys. Make it very easy and simple for them. Say, listen, there's 7 days in a week. Maybe we have 3 games that week. I need you for 3 days out of that 7.
Yeah.
I don't care what you do the other 4 days. I don't care how hard you work. I don't care what you do. But if you give me everything that you have and you bring it for 3 days, 3 of those nights, we're going to win hockey games and we're going to be good. That's it.
Yeah.
Simplify it. Don't make it in this big, to-do list. So.
We've got to talk about anytime a player breaks Wayne Gretzky's record, one of many records. It's definitely something we need to bring up. Connor McDavid now has 38 points in the playoffs, 32 assists, 6 goals. He broke Gretz's record. Gretz had 31 assists in 19 games. Connor just did it in 22 games. What do you think of this young man and him breaking Wayne's record?
Let's just say it does not surprise me. It doesn't surprise me a bit. You know Connor's going to reach the finals at some point, and hopefully he does again. This kid is the most talented person ever on 2 blades. Yeah. Now, when people say the best player or the smartest, Gretzky and Mario and all these guys are going to be in that conversation. But when I say talent, to be able to do things on 2 blades at the speeds that McDavid does, with the puck and the accuracy and the speed that McDavid does in the tight zones that McDavid does, he is a man amongst boys. He is so much better than everybody else on the ice, and you can see it. It is so apparent. There is nobody that is as talented as Connor McDavid. So it does not surprise me that he broke this record, and he's putting up points by the absolute bushels. Could you imagine if Connor McDavid played in 1985 with those defensemen the way they skated and the goaltenders the way that they played? The kid would score five points a game.
Yeah.
Maybe more. He would score 2 or 3 goals every game because nobody would be able to catch him.
Right.
You mean to tell him Brad Marsh and Larry Robinson and all these guys, the way that they skated, would be able to catch Connor McDavid at the speed he is going? No chance. Not a chance.
Yeah.
And obviously we know that the equipment's different. The technology is different. It's much better. But these guys were bred. Connor McDavid was bred on the ice all the time, eating properly, training properly. He was bred to be this good. And he is. That's one of the reasons why he is the most talented player in the history of the game on two blades.
Off Stanley Cup Finals for a second. Patrick Laine has asked to be moved or considered to be moved from Columbus.
Shocker.
Yeah, he's had his difficulties off the ice as far as having to enter the substance abuse program a couple times, and obviously we sympathize with that. Before you give your opinion on Patrick Laine, I honestly, I think he's a dog. I wouldn't trade for him. I think he's lazy. He's got so much talent. He's probably got one of the best releases in the NHL. But I just think he's a dog, JR. And I would not give, if I could get him for nothing, but obviously that's not going to happen, then I would possibly make the move. But to give up anything for this guy, it's a huge risk. And I don't know if it's worth the return.
Well, that was being nice. That was being nice. And yes, I think yes. To preface my answer, we all feel awful, and should have some heartfelt hopes that his personal life is okay, and that he whatever he's battling. Because listen, mental illness and substance abuse and everything like that is a real deal. It's a terrible thing to have to overcome. But that does not have anything to do with the level of play that he portrays or he brings to the ice. He is lazy.
Yeah.
He is sluggish. He refuses to do anything that is best for the team. He wants that puck and just shoot the puck, and he doesn't. There's when you score as many goals as he did early in his career, and then talk about himself as much as he did, saying he should have gone first overall. Back when Matthews was picked, it was pretty funny watching his deterioration, because everybody was just talking about how good Patrick Laine was, and all of his goals are coming off the one-timers, or coming off the power play, or coming off of, and he never seems to be working hard. He never seems to get that grit, that determination, that drive, that I will not be denied attitude. It's all laissez-faire, lackadaisical. And you know what? You're going to get exposed in the National Hockey League if you have that. And he's been exposed, and he's been exposed dramatically. And now he can't make it on one of the worst teams. No disrespect to Columbus, but on one of the worst teams in National Hockey League, and he can't make it there. Right. That's all he can do is look in the mirror and change the way he plays it. But I'm with you. I wouldn't trade a puck bag for him, to tell you the truth.
They were like your boys after the whistle. I saw this morning they were talking about trading Skinner for Laine, and I'm like, are you kidding me? Not a chance I would do that. Not a chance I would trade Jeff Skinner, even though Jeff Skinner isn't one of my favorite guys either. But there's not a chance I would trade those guys even up.
Yeah, at least you're going to get a little bit of bite from Jeff Skinner. You're not going to get any bite from Patrick Laine. But I am in agreement that Columbus should get rid of him, and get rid of him for whatever they can, because he's just a detriment to the team. He's
a dog. He's a dog. Get rid of him. Get somebody on there that actually wants to play a 200-foot game.
Yeah. And I hope this situation, and I hope his life improves, and he learns from this, and he starts having some good seasons, or at least shows energy or some enthusiasm to play the game. But right now, you can see that he doesn't give a shit.
Yeah. Okay. Before we close, we'll get into who we think is going to win Game 5. What time are you teeing off today in beautiful Muskoka?
Teeing off in 1 hour. So I got to make sure I get there, get stretched out. But
the event,
hey, listen, it's you said it's going back, and listen, it's not a bad pick, and I would not be sad if it did, because then we'd really have a series. Because if it goes back to Edmonton, we're going to have a Game 7. So I'm thinking if Edmonton wins tonight, there's going to be a game 7. I'm only selfishly saying I want the game to end tonight because I picked them to 5. But for the sake of the hockey, for the sake of the league, for the sake of watching some good hockey, I'd like to see it keep going.
Well, game 5 is tomorrow night. Hopefully you'll be able to watch it. We are on Snipes and Stripes Wednesday afternoon. So Wednesday afternoon, we'll either be getting excited for game 6, or we'll be talking about the Florida Panthers being the 2024 Stanley Cup champs. That's what it boils down to. I think we're going to be talking about going back to Edmonton for game 6, and then the doubts and everything else creeps into Florida.
Everything changes. Everything changes if Edmonton wins in Florida tomorrow. All attitudes change.
Oh my goodness.
All confidence changes. All momentum swings, and then you're in trouble. And by the way, you'd be crazy, nuts, to bet against Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl in this kind of situation.
You know what? Kudos to Skinner the other night. He played phenomenal.
So yeah, he played really well. He had an easy night of it because his team played so well in front of him.
Did, but when it was 2-1, he made a couple big saves.
He did what he had to do. He had to make the saves and keep his team at the right time. You're exactly right. And that's what it takes to win the playoffs. But for me, Connor McDavid's going to be going. Hyman's going to be going. Draisaitl's going to be going. It's going to be really interesting to see whether Nurse plays well, whether Brown and Henrique and Lundmark, play well again. So that's Mark. See what happens. And if they play well again, then they have a good chance of winning.
Well, buddy, you go enjoy your beautiful day in Muskoka. I hope you've got great weather. Awesome people up there. You're with a bunch of Canadians. Canadians are the best, man. Have some.
Of course they are. Of course they are.
Labatt Blue or Molson, and you have a great day up there.
It's more like a vodka soda. I don't drink the beer, but that's okay. Well, we will see you. That's Snipes and Stripes Monday edition, weekend edition, right here at nofilter.net. My buddy Tim Peel, you brought it again. We'll see everybody Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern time, 4 p.m. Pacific, unless we decide to tape a little bit earlier because of our busy, crazy lives. But we will see everybody Wednesday. Tim, great job.
Yeah, buddy.
See ya.